I'm glad you
And
know how to count.
action.
Kindergarten paid off.
Right. Welcome back, friends. This is the Cindy and Shar B2 podcast. I am Cindy.
And I am, I
Yes.
say fabulous a lot. How about awesome sauce?
Yes. Awesome sauce.
Okay.
We were born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, and influenced by the 90s. And we are now here to hang out with you. So let's start, Shar. What are you drinking?
We have something new. And I would like to report that my trusty Total Wine is still closed. Yes, they've got to be losing like hundreds and thousands of dollars. Or maybe hundreds of thousands. They're still closed. It's been like 3 months. I went by there today. I'm like, please, please, please. And I'm like, there is no God, clearly. I was praying, please, God.
He's like, maybe it's a sign. He's all,
So I do have something new though. I've only been able to go to like my local grocery stores. We do have a Bevmo, but it's clear on the other side of town. They're more expensive than Total Wine. They don't have as good of a selection, but it is bigger than the grocery store. So maybe I'll go there this weekend just in case Total Wine is still closed by the next time I need to get something. So I do have something new and I'm pretty excited about it.
okay.
I've never even heard of this.
Okay.
It is a seltzer. It is, wait, my light.
Watermelon. I see watermelon. I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to see because of my light. Bless you.
Thanks.
Maybe if I go from this side.
No, I can't read the white. Oh, it just says seltzer. That's all I can see.
Ashland. Okay. So it's called Ashland Hard Seltzer. This is a watermelon flavor. I thought I was like, oh, I bet this is local because there's Ashland, Oregon. That's, not too far from me. So I thought, oh, I bet this is, no, right on here. It says San Diego, California. So since watermelon seems to be my new favorite right now, I still love peach. Don't get angry at me, peach. I still love peach. But right now I'm just I'm liking the watermelon. Son of a, it'll dry.
It likes you too.
Yeah. Okay. So here's to the first try. I would not guess that this is booze.
Tastes more just like a soda or something.
It tastes almost like a water with some watermelon flavor in it. It does taste, it's a good watermelon flavor though. It tastes more like a natural fruit flavor, not like a chemical watermelon. I mean, it's not bad. It's not what I was expecting. So I did, just in case, I brought it back up.
Yes. A mango strawberry one.
Yeah. So I think maybe I'll open this one too.
How strong are they?
5%.
Okay.
And they're gluten free. All you gluten intolerant people, you can have this. And they're only 100 calories per can.
That's not bad.
No sugar.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let me try this one. Okay, you know how like LaCroix or, those that's what these taste like. Is there
just like a...
I mean, it says 5%. It says hard seltzer. Yeah, they're really... So also, I do have one other thing. So
just in case.
I tried this for the first time recently. Everybody has been drinking this for a million years. I've never had it. I don't know why. Probably because I never go to this place. Like if I'm going to get fast food, I never go here. But I tried one I was like, okay, I want to see why everybody is raving about this.
Yeah.
So I got it and now I'm addicted. It's the Baja Blast from Taco Bell. Have you ever had this?
No.
It is, I don't know what, it's so good.
What does it taste like?
I can't even describe it. I have no idea. It's made by Mountain Dew, but it does not taste like Mountain Dew at all because I do not like Mountain Dew. It tastes beachy, like
summer.
Yeah, they're really good. Taco Bell has happy hour between 2 and 5.
Yeah.
And so you can get that for $1. So I was like,
heck yeah.
I ran to the grocery store to get something to drink. I was like, maybe I'll just go get a Baja. That would probably be really good with vodka in it.
You're like, I need to.
Which I could have done. Yeah, these I'm a little disappointed. These aren't that great. But what do you have?
So I have 2 mystery drinks. from the ones that Chris got me a while back when he went.
That was a long time ago.
I know. Hopefully they're still good. But so I asked him to put them, in the freezer actually before I got home. So I don't know what they are. I have no idea. Do you want me to try the tall can or the short can first?
Like I always say, good things come in small packages. So do the short one.
Okay. Yellow can. I am just gonna try it, and then we'll find out what it is.
I'm using my white. This one's a tall one, but I didn't.
Well, this one is Chris's. He has my pink one outside, so I don't know.
He's secure in his manhood.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It smells like a beer.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess it's a hef. I like hefs.
Yep. I do too. It's one of my favorites. And Mexican lagers.
It has something about it I don't love. It almost has a little bit of a flat.
Okay. Maybe that's because you've had them for so long.
Very well could be. Maybe because it's old. It is Roller Town Beer Works, brewed in Texas. Who's the Hefe? Hefeweizen. Can you see it?
Yeah. Roller Town. Yeah.
Yep.
That's an interesting can.
It's 5%.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what my seltzer is.
Yeah, mine. Well, I don't know what the date is, so it very well could be a little flat because I took too long to drink it. So I'll drink it though. It's definitely drinkable.
Okay.
And then the second one is in a tall, and it's blue. So I don't know.
High noon.
You think?
Maybe. He wouldn't have got you seltzers though. He would have got you beers or
I don't
mixed
know.
drinks.
I don't know. Kind of smells like a beer. But do beers usually come in a tall can?
No, but I think you did have one that was a beer in a tall can because I was like, oh, that's weird. Normally seltzers are tall.
I don't know.
No bueno. That face is saying yuck.
Texas Blonde ale brewed with Azaka.
What's a Zaka hops?
Oh no, it's a cute can though.
Yeah, it's a really cool can. Wild ale.
It's like a little cowgirl.
Yeah.
Riding on a mechanical bull.
Are they cold? Could that be part of the problem too? Are they
No,
like,
it's
super
cold.
cold?
It's cold. Okay. I wonder if they're just maybe kind of old. This one is no.
I love when you don't like a drink.
You love it. Thanks, B2. So I'll drink this one. I also have something to try that's a food.
Speaking of that, okay. Oh, Dubai. I keep hearing about this. I've never tasted it. Okay. Speaking of food, I would like to tell the listeners I was at work the other day and got a package, and I wasn't expecting anything. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I did have an Office Depot order, but that was like, I received it the week before. So I was like, did they forget something in my order and I didn't notice? So I opened it and it was a giant bag of Reese cups, peanut butter and jelly. And it was both strawberry and grape. So one bad thing is they all melted. Every single one of them was melted. But that didn't stop me.
Good.
I'll eat melted chocolate. So you're right. The peanut butter was the jelly was very faint. Like you could
barely taste it.
You could barely taste you mostly tasted the chocolate.
Right.
And even the peanut butter wasn't as strong as like a normal Reese cup peanut butter.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't anything worth.
Yeah, I shared them with some of my coworkers too. And, we all discussed what we thought about it. They're good, but like you said, you really couldn't taste the jelly. So I kid you not, B2, that night I had to run to Target.
And they had them.
They freaking had them, but
Did.
They had the normal pack with two.
Yeah.
And it was the big ones.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to try these ones because maybe the bigger cups, I'm going to silence my watch. It keeps beeping. I thought the bigger cups will have more.
Maybe had more jelly.
They really didn't. I mean, it tasted a little bit more, but there was also more chocolate and more peanut butter. So it still just was very faint. So that's funny you got that because tonight when I was at the grocery store getting this, they had the peanut butter and jelly M&Ms that I was talking about, and I almost got them so that we could. And then I was like, no, now I wish I would have since you have Dubai chocolate.
Well, so it looks really cool. It's kind of almost feels melty.
I'm so curious about this. Yeah. Is the green pistachio?
Yeah, apparently it has
Okay.
pistachio in it. It's
Okay.
very soft, like just broke
Okay.
right off.
Oh, yeah.
And then
What's in the middle? What is that? Is it
it's
peanut butter?
green. No, I think it's pistachio.
Okay. So Dubai chocolate is chocolate and pistachio?
Can you hear me crunching?
It has crunch. What is the crunch?
Sorry, I was down here reading what it
What the
may
crunch
contain.
was?
Which I
May
got this from the
contain?
Asian market,
Okay.
but it says may contain allergens such as milk, eggs, peanuts, tree nuts. Now we get to, I'm like, wait, what? Fish, crustacean, shellfish. Wait, so
Is that the crunch? Is it shellfish?
maybe. So yeah, it says it's chocolate, coconut oil, wheat flour, cornstarch, salt, soybean oil, dry roasted pistachios, cane sugar,
Okay.
palm oil, blah, 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 a bunch of weird things. But it says it contains coconut and pistachios. So I'm thinking this filling is kind of a, maybe it's a little bit, I don't really taste coconut though, but it's the consistency almost reminds me of maybe like flaked coconut,
Okay.
but it doesn't taste like coconut. It tastes, I guess, like pistachio.
Have you ever had like pistachio ice cream? And so is it kind of like that flavor of pistachio? It's one of my favorite ice creams, by the way, pistachio nut.
I'm just tasting chocolate.
Just chocolate. Okay. Because they have coffee drinks. Like I think Starbucks had a Dubai chocolate, latte or something. I never tried them. I just
I
didn't get
mean,
on board with it. It's good. It's chocolate.
yeah, it's good. I'm not really tasting something that's so different than just
Just
anything else.
chocolate. Okay. So the peanut butter and jelly, I feel like the jelly, there's more of a jelly flavor in those than there was in the Reese cups.
Okay, but you still thought those were just okay too, the peanut
They
butter and
weren't,
jelly.
yeah, they weren't amazing, but I was like, I would eat a family size, the share size. I would eat a share size bag of them. They were good, but I do think that the jelly was a little bit more pronounced in the ends than it was in the
Okay.
Reese cup. So, but I did appreciate getting a giant bag of the peanut butter and jelly Reese cups.
Man, I wondered about if they would get melted, but
Yeah,
I
they
really
did.
wanted you to be able to try them. So
Yes,
there we
I
go.
know. I know. It was a very nice surprise. I was like, "What the?" And everybody's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, my B2's just the best."
She sent me melted chocolate.
Well, I
It
didn't know it
happens.
was melted until I finally opened it, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Anywho, I just sorry. Real quick. Oh, the not last podcast, but the podcast before, I was talking about I threw my dog down the stairs
yes,
in order to save myself.
yes,
So there were a lot of people that were concerned about my dog because he
yes.
is 16. I would like to report he's fine. He was fine even that night. And when I was walking down the stairs, I was like, yeah, it wasn't like 5 or 7 steps. It literally was like the last 3 or 4, if that. But still, I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of so he rolled down a couple of them and then, kind of slid. But my dog is fine. He wasn't hurt. He's still fine. He is old and I probably shouldn't be throwing him down the stairs, but it was accidental and he is
Yep.
fine. So I just wanted to let everybody know who was
Excellent.
worried about my senior dog that he is fine.
He's fine. Good.
Yeah. So,
So, we are planning on talking about something a little bit different tonight. Usually, we'll talk about reminiscing stuff, but we both really like true crime and we like those kind of
mhm.
podcasts. And I watched a documentary recently and I had Char watch it too, so we could talk to you about it. I remembered it from when we were little. I was 8 when it happened, and
Yep.
I remember,
1982.
yes, I remember when it happened, and it was the Tylenol murders. And you kind of didn't really remember it. Was that right?
When I started watching the documentary, I was like, okay, I do vaguely remember this.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have been more the second time it happened. Remember, like the first cases were in like 1982 and then it happened again in like 1984, I believe it
Mm-hmm.
was. So I think maybe that second time around is more of
Maybe.
it. I do vaguely remember it. I do vaguely remember, but I don't remember specifics of it. I mean, I watched the documentary and
Remember. Yeah.
obviously remembered
So,
some more, but
those of you who don't know what we're talking about, back in 1982, it was a different time then also. So now everything is safety sealed, and this is the whole reason why everything is safety sealed. Things were never safety sealed before. Milk didn't have anything that you peeled off. Medicine, Tylenol, it was just a bottle, and you could open it and you could look at it and you could put the cap back on, I guess, and put it back on the shelf.
yeah,
That's
they weren't even in boxes back
no.
then.
It just and nobody knew. I guess nobody thought that there were weirdos out there until it happened. Same as you think back like, oh my gosh, people never used to lock their doors, and you think, how could you even do that? Well, you did it because there was never any reason that you couldn't do it. Nowadays, there's all this weird stuff that you hear about, so of course you're going to lock your doors. I mean, we used to sleep with our windows open at night. Windows
I
open just to
slept in the
screen.
backyard
Yeah,
or
you
in the
just sleep in
front
the even in
yard.
the front yard. So yeah, you just wouldn't do those things now. But so with the Tylenol bottles, they weren't sealed, and what happened was something was getting in the bottles. It ended up being cyanide, and it was killing people. And I just remember when I was in 1982, my mom. I don't remember much, but I do remember this. My mom was like, "Do not take any pills anywhere. Somebody was putting poison in them and people are dying, so don't take any pills, blah blah." And I remember that to this day. And so when that came on, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm interested, because i just I always thought that somebody went into the store and opened them and put poison pills in them, and then people accidentally got the poison.
Because that's what Johnson and Johnson, who owned Tylenol, was telling people happened.
Right. Well, and yeah, so this whole documentary has sheds a different light on the whole situation. So what ended up happening, and actually you kind of don't know how many times it happened before that, or times that nobody knew that's what the problem was,
Right.
because they firefighters were called to a house with someone that was in distress, dying, whatever, and they got there. It was a healthy 20 something year old guy that just he died. And so very strange, but they obviously don't do any investigating or whatever. They just had to take him out. And so the very next day they got the very same call to the very same address,
In the same house, yeah.
and they're like, wait, that can't be right. That guy died yesterday.
Guy's dead. Yeah.
Right. And so they went back, and it was two people now. It was two people, and people, all his family had come to the house to grieve together, and then now two more people. So the firefighters called the health department and asked her to come and investigate. Like, maybe it's some mold, or it's some food that all these people are getting in this house. And so she did all this searching, and she couldn't find anything. And she finally found this brand new bottle of Tylenol. And so she put out all the pills and counted them, and there were 6 missing, which would mean 3 doses. 3 people died. So they took it and tested it and found cyanide in some of the pills. I don't think all of them, but some, which started this investigation. But literally, one of the victim's daughters, who is an adult now, probably maybe our age, uh, she's like, how many people did this happen to that no one knows about? Like, maybe it was an older person and they just
Yep.
assumed it was
A heart
heart,
attack.
or
Yep.
whatever, a aneurysm or whatever.
Driving a car and
crash.
and it's just a car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that guy was super sketchy.
Yeah. So one of the main suspects, what was his name?
I don't remember.
I can't remember his
Anyway,
name.
he's really
Anyways, yeah. So they had one main suspect because he had written a ransom letter to
An
Johnson
extortion.
Johnson, an
Yeah.
extortion letter demanding $1 million be deposited into a specific account. And then when they researched that account, it came back to a travel agency. They questioned the owner of the travel agency, and he's like, yeah, I didn't do that, but I have this disgruntled employee that maybe he did it, and they compared the handwriting, and sure enough it was him. So he denies that he had anything to do with tampering with the Tylenol, but they were able to arrest him for extortion because the letter that he did write and admitted to writing, which he didn't think it was a big deal. Nobody got hurt. It was just a letter. He was supposedly trying to get the owner of the travel agency in trouble because
Right.
he was mad. Allegedly, his wife worked at this travel agency also, and one of her paychecks did not clear because of insufficient funds, and that
Mm-hmm.
upset him. So he was trying to get back at the owner of the travel agency.
Sounds
So,
like a pretty elaborate scheme.
right, right. So, okay, one thing that I thought was really interesting that would never happen today is they had to get the warning out to everybody. And this was happening in Illinois, like near
Yep, Chicago.
Chicago and some of the surrounding suburbs of Chicago. They were having to get this information out to everybody very quickly. This is 1982. They don't have internet. They don't have the technology that we have today. So they were broadcasting it on the news. They also were going door to door, knocking on people's doors. The policemen were driving through the neighborhoods on their intercoms telling people to throw away their Tylenol. Do not take Tylenol, throw it away. Can you imagine? That would never happen today.
No.
But
You just get some kind of notification on your phone or something.
right, like the technology we have today, that would have reached everybody that quickly. Like it
Yes.
would have spread through the whole country
Yes.
in a matter of hours, probably. This, for days, they were doing this, and there were still people that had no idea that took it and ended up having a contaminated bottle and died. So, of course, there was this whole investigation into Johnson and Johnson, and they were claiming that there was no way it happened in their facility, that it was somebody in the grocery, or like somebody going into the stores. They
Right.
were doing it in there, and then they thought it was this guy. So
But
this guy, yeah,
so they asked the manufacturer. So Johnson and
is
Johnson,
there
it was,
cyanide?
yeah, is there
Yeah.
cyanide in your
And they said no.
facility at all? And they said absolutely not. Which
Come to
ended
find
up
out there was.
right, which you'd think, why on earth would there be cyanide? But apparently they used it in some sort of quality control testing. And
Right.
then they said, oh, but it's behind lock and key, and only authorized people have access to it, and it's a very small amount. So come to find out, okay, well, lock and key was just behind a glass door that wasn't locked, and
Right.
anybody could go in there.
Yep. Yep.
So so that makes you kind of, so at first you're suspicious of the guy,
Yeah.
whatever his name is, we'll figure it out and tell you. And then you're suspicious of Johnson and Johnson because it seems odd that how do you, when they ask you specifically, do you have any cyanide in this company, in this
Right.
manufacturing plant? No, absolutely not. But you do. So I mean, did you ask the wrong person and they
James
just
Lewis.
Lewis? Okay,
James Lewis.
who has subsequently passed away after this documentary
That is
by
correct.
natural causes.
Yes. Hopefully cyanide. No, just kidding. I honestly, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about the actual case. I personally don't think he was the one that did it, but I absolutely think that he was guilty of crimes. His elderly neighbor, the 79-year-old, I absolutely think that he was responsible for that.
Okay.
So, back to okay, so Johnson and Johnson is claiming this did not happen in their facility. And I agreed. I was like, yeah, clearly somebody went into the grocery stores, just popped the bottle open and put it in there. So that's when Johnson and Johnson added 3 safety measures to all of their medicines now. So that little foil that's over the top of it that you have to puncture, that was added because of this. The cap had a safety seal over the cap. That was the second thing. And the third thing is it's now in a box. So if the box was opened, you still had this safety seal around the cap, and then you had that foil. So somebody would have to open the box,
And you
take
would
the,
know that it was
like
tampered with.
you would know it was tampered with. So that's what Tylenol did to ensure that this wouldn't happen. James Lewis went to prison for the forgery,
The extortion.
or I'm sorry, the extortion letter, and all was good until 1984. It started happening again. So James Lewis is in prison, And they have all of these safety features now on your medicine. So now how is it happening?
It has to be from the company, right?
Right? So,
But here's another little thing that was strange. Do you remember that cop that was interviewed that before all of this came out, he said like the day before him and another cop went to a diner for breakfast,
yes,
and in the
yes.
parking lot of the diner was this mess in the parking lot. It was a Tylenol bottle that was open. There was a bunch of spilled pills that were opened and like
We should tell
discarded.
people it was the capsules.
Yeah,
So
the
the
capsules.
Tylenol capsules that you could take apart. I mean, they
Right.
still make them today, but that's what was cycling.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
so
so that's what
that,
we found in
you
the
know,
parking lot.
this cop found this, which it he didn't even know about the whole thing yet.
Yeah.
But what's that about? I mean, that's
So
almost like maybe a trial or a test run.
okay, so he didn't know what it was. He was like, "What is this huge mess?" It was a bunch of the capsules, a bunch of powder. So he started to pick it all up. His buddy came. They go into the diner to get food. They're eating, and all of a sudden, he's like starts getting all this pain in his arm, and it's swelling. He said his fingers were so swollen that with his hand like this, his fingers were all touching because his hand was so swollen. So he immediately goes to the hospital, and he had been poisoned. And he's like, wait a minute, I touched that, whatever that was. So they went back to go collect it, and it was pretty much all gone. So, yes, that tells me that somebody was probably emptying the capsules and refilling them with cyanide
Right?
to go do something with them. Yeah, I don't, it's really, I think that it was happening inside the facility also.
Do you think it was an accident or you think it was on purpose?
No, I absolutely think it was on purpose. But this James Allen guy, there's a lot more to
James
him.
Lewis.
I mean, sorry, James Lewis. There's a lot more to him
What about
that's
the rape that
strange.
happened after he got out of prison?
Exactly. He absolutely did that. That was him also. So this guy, and he was creepy, like super creepo. His teeth were, yeah. So, I already knew he was my boyfriend. I'm sure you already knew he's your boyfriend. So I didn't even bother
Right.
telling you.
Right.
But one of the first things, obviously the extortion letter, which I thought, yeah, I could see somebody doing that. Like, I'm going to try to get you in trouble because, you know,
Sure. I mean, I
you
guess.
you didn't pay my wife or
It just
whatever.
seems like a very elaborate thing to just come up with all of a sudden. Like, let's say you see this in the news and you're like, that gives me a perfect idea. Like, really? It seems
Well, yes, and also it came out later. So he was being interviewed. This is
later
after
on.
he got out of prison for the extortion because he served 10 years in prison for that extortion letter.
I thought it was 4. So keep going.
Okay, double check. You know me. I have to be fact checked on everything. I literally just watched this and I'm getting facts wrong. Nobody can trust anything I say. So he was in prison. When he got out of prison, an investigator wanted to question him.
Well, we were both wrong. It was 12 years. That's what it says.
Oh, I thought it was 10. Is that what he was? Wait, is that what he was sentenced to but didn't serve that long?
It says he spent 12 years in federal prison.
Okay, see, I thought it was 10. So, okay. So 12 years. He was away for a very long time. So when he got out, because there was other stuff that had been happening that is leading to like so many different things kept leading to this guy. So he was being interviewed and he didn't know he was being filmed. They were
Right.
secretly filming him. And the detective was going over his timelines of when he wrote the letter, like how long did it take him to write the letter? It took him 4 days. When did he mail it? It took, so they go back and he would have written that letter days before it was
Mm-hmm.
made public that this was happening when they
Right.
started making the
He
announcements.
specifically, like the cop said, it was the FBI agent. He
Yeah,
said,
the
okay,
FBI
well,
agent.
so when did you write it? He goes, well, whatever it's postmarked. And he goes,
Right.
right, I've got the postmark, but when did you start writing it? He said, oh, it was 3 days before the postmark. And 3 days before the postmark was before it became public knowledge. And so then when he confronted him about it, he's like,
Yeah, I see your quandary.
Yeah, maybe I don't remember it correctly. Like you were so sure. And I mean, it'd be one thing to start out with, well, I don't remember, but I think it was, a couple days, or he was like specific. Take the postmark, and it was 3 days before that.
Right. But they never found anything in his house. They searched his house, they searched his computers because him and his wife owned an accounting business, right? That was him
Yeah, I
that
think
owned
so.
the accounting business. So him and his wife owned an accounting business. Yes, they did, because that's why the neighbor ended up coming to their house saying, "Hey, what kind of business do you have?" And he said, "Oh, we're accountants." And they became really good friends and he became his accountant. Okay. Or bookkeeper or whatever. So everything was leading to this guy, but how do you explain that it was still happening when he was in prison?
I mean, sometimes they have an accomplice, like, but still, if they had the safety features, it has to be in the factory.
Right. Well, and also Alan, Mr. Allen,
Lewis.
Lewis, dang it. Where am I getting Alan? Who's Alan? Anyways, Lewis, they took his computers, they took, like, they searched his, they found nothing that, like, that was part of the problem. There's all of these things that he's being accused of, and there is no evidence
Right.
at all to
I mean,
substantiate
he
any of these claims.
he had some weird stuff in his house when they first were looking at him. He had the Anarchist's Cookbook, which is a
Yes.
book, and I've seen it before because I knew someone who had it, who is not a creepy serial killer or whatever. But it
Oh,
has.
sure.
But I mean, I think it talks about how you can make a bomb, and it probably talks
Mhm.
about how you could, I don't know, maybe poison someone, or so. I'm not sure exactly what all was in it.
Right.
I just saw the cover. But so he had that, so that made them suspicious. Also, did you see there was one picture? It was a grainy picture of the
In the
stewardess.
grocery store?
Yep, the
Yeah.
stewardess that
Yeah.
was buying the Tylenol. There just happened to be a security camera photo of her, and it's like when she was getting her Tylenol off the shelf, and there was a guy that was like looking right at her, that looked like him, beard and glasses, but it was grainy, and probably everybody had a beard and glasses back then too. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
but
Your dad had a beard and glasses.
not so much hair up here though. I
No.
think that guy had more hair.
So I could see the resemblance. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think it was the same person.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing. It was just, I mean, it could have been the guy from Hangover, beard and glasses. I mean, it just
Yeah.
looked like
Yeah.
anybody with beard and glasses.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was a little weird that the guy was like looking, but also it was a still shot. Maybe he was like,
Exactly.
and it just happened to, click that. Was it video? Like what was happening 5 seconds before or 5 seconds after? So I don't think that that's a telltale, but this is part of the problem. Like nothing ever was able to like definitely substantiate or prove that there's someone in your house. um so okay, so going back to James Lewis, let's talk about
Fun.
no,
I'm just
that's
kidding.
James. Okay. I'm like, no. I'm like,
Okay, going back to
no.
James Lewis.
So going back to James Lewis. So before he was ever convicted of the extortion letter, right? It was before. So there was this older gentleman. He was a 79-year-old man who was his neighbor, popped over to his house one day to ask what kind of business they had because they had like a sign in their yard or something. Him and his wife had the accounting or bookkeeping business. And he's like, "Oh, we do books." And like they hit it off. And also, James Lewis and his wife had a daughter who was born with
Down
Down
syndrome.
syndrome. So the 79-year-old man was coming over to their house all the time, and like they were really good friends. He was really sweet to their daughter. Like he would take time and speak with their daughter. So two things that are a little, so his daughter, 4 years old or 5 years old, ended up passing away. And it's because she had a heart. defect, and they had to put some sort of patch on her heart, and that patch ended up tearing away and she ended up dying. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm. What
There's
one theory?
more. Yes. So there's something that goes along with that. The neighbor, all of it. So the neighbor, his daughter, I think it was, or maybe a friend, was like, hey, we haven't heard from whatever his name is. We'll pretend his name is Tom because I don't remember. But they're like, where's Tom at? I haven't heard from Tom. And so they checked with Lewis and they're like, hey, have you seen him? He's like, no, I haven't seen him in a few days. So nobody's heard from him. So finally they do a welfare check because nobody's heard from him. Nobody's seen him. So they go in the house and they see blood splatter. But then they look in the corner and there's all like this liquidy blood, I don't know, stuff coming like out of the ceiling. And so they go up into the attic and they find this 79-year-old man dismembered. His head was in a bag, his legs were in a bag, his torso was in a bag, and that's how they found him. And so this is Lewis's friend. He doesn't know anything about it. Like,
And that's just unsolved too, right?
that's unsolved. They have no idea what happened to him. At first, I was like, oh my God, did he kill his daughter? But when he was talking about his daughter, like he got emotional,
Yeah.
and she legitimately had this issue with her heart. But there was other stuff that happened where it led back to Alan because
Lewis.
dang it. It led back to Lewis. And I don't remember exactly what that was, where they were saying he was like
Right.
retaliating.
Because apparently the patch
Yes.
or the thread or whatever, something was made by Johnson and Johnson.
That's what it was.
And so
Okay.
they kind of thought maybe he was retaliating against them for that reason.
Right. So I don't know. In the realm of anything's possible, there could have been a copycat since Lewis was in prison, and this now is happening again with inside bottles that are tamper resistant, and it starts happening again. So could he have been the first one and then somebody else decided to be a copycat? Maybe. But to me,
It would still have to
it's
be an inside job
agreed. So
because
to me,
they're
it makes
sealed.
more sense. Exactly. It makes more sense that it would have been something happening inside Johnson and Johnson, the manufacturing. And there's a bunch of reports and stuff that Johnson and Johnson will not release. And they were not truthful with several different things when they were being investigated by the FBI.
Well, so right. So, they got the president or whoever he was of Johnson and Johnson got an
Yes.
award from Ronald Reagan, the president
Yes.
then of the United States, for how well he handled this whole situation. They Johnson and Johnson was considered something to be trusted. Just one second. Oh, okay. Sorry. Something, a company to be trusted. And the whole way it was handled obviously would never fly today. So,
Right.
first of all, when it happened, they just asked them, and one person, one agent or a cop went and investigated for a couple of hours and came out and said, oh, they absolutely did nothing wrong. There's no way that they had anything to do with it. And later, people are like, on earth could this one person be there for a couple of hours and say that? There's
And
no way.
determine
Yeah,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, you can't determine that. And so there's that. And then they'd ask them the question we talked about earlier: is there cyanide used at all in this manufacturing plant? No. Okay. Well, then later it was found to be yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so here's the sketchy part, which again, back then, that was probably the way it was done, but nowadays it would never be done this way. So Johnson and Johnson took it upon themselves to say, okay, we need to do a mandatory recall of all the Tylenol, get it off the shelves, get it all back to us. So then they hired a company to investigate. And then there was a small percentage of those bottles that were contaminated, just a small percentage. So that's their company that they hired to do their investigation for them,
Right.
which
Right.
usually nowadays you're like, no, we
That
need
would
somebody
be a
on the
conflict of interest.
right. And so then after their little investigation that they did, okay, well, we'll go ahead and destroy all the bottles. All gone. All the evidence is absolutely gone.
Yes.
So
Yes.
no one can do their own testing or figure out, was that correct? Your testing that you did, which is super sketchy.
Right.
So, I mean, was it just like, was it an accident that some cyanide got in some of these things because it was there in the company, in the manufacturing plant, or was it like on purpose, someone there in on the inside that was
Right.
doing this?
Right.
But then, I mean, honestly, if it was someone on the inside doing it, it wouldn't be Johnson and Johnson's fault. I mean, if you found this person and said, "Oh my
Right.
gosh, we found this horrible person that we didn't realize was a horrible person and they were doing
Right.
this. We got them. We're going to turn them over to the police." I
Right.
mean, I wouldn't blame Johnson and Johnson. I would blame that horrible person.
Right.
Like why? I
But
mean,
I mean, I can see why they would cover it up. Like it absolutely is their reputation. I hear your dog. Is that Avery?
let me pause.
So I think that Johnson and Johnson would absolutely try to cover it up because while we can like yeah, it's not their fault. It was somebody that worked there, but it's still their reputation and they're going to do everything they can to protect their name.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah,
I mean, I mean, really, anything that's like severe like that, any company is going to try to brush that under the rug. They don't want the public hearing that. They're the ones that hired the person. What's your screening process look like? How did you let
true.
some, psychopath into your facility that's, putting cyanide in pills? But and like, isn't there like a checks and balance on like quality control? Like, is
Well,
there
apparently
not
the
some?
cyanide was something they used to do
This is
quality
true.
control tests. So
Yeah, this is true.
I don't know what it does, but
Yeah. So, so one more thing about Lewis. So first his daughter passes away, then his neighbor is mysteriously butchered. Then there's this extortion note that was likely written before it was ever announced to the public that he does 12 years in prison. He gets out of prison,
he moves to a different state.
moves to a different state, and now a woman comes forward. How did they find out? It was the woman that came forward,
Yeah,
right?
she
Yeah,
reported it.
right.
She got raped, so and she knew who it was. It was a man that lived in the same apartment building as her. I think she was walking by or whatever. He opened his door, he sprayed something in her face that
Yeah, yeah.
burned and it was very painful, and then he pulled her into his apartment and he raped her. And so she reported it to police and said who it was, but then she found out what he was known, he was related to that Tylenol murder. And then she decided, she's like, never, nope, I'm not testifying, never mind. And so she backed off and he
Which
never
is
was
a
charged.
which is another thing that would never happen today. If I was to go and report I was raped, it was the man that lives right here, here's what he looks like, here's what he did, and then I was like, "No, I don't want it." They're still going to prosecute based off of.
No, but if you don't have that person to testify, he may get off.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
if there was no
He got
proof,
off. Yeah,
so yeah.
bad taste.
I don't know. So I'm still torn. I mean, it feels like it has to be done on the inside, but what on earth was he has to have something to do with it.
Maybe they never talked about did he know anybody that worked at Johnson and Johnson?
Yeah,
Did
they
he
never
have
did.
family that worked there? Did he like I do not think that he's the one that was putting cyanide in Tylenol.
But he was probably
I think
helping.
he murdered his neighbor. I think he raped that woman. He's a piece of crap, which if you would do that, you clearly are a psychopath. Dismember like this elderly man, single, living alone. He butchered him literally and then just left him in the attic. If he could do that, he could absolutely put cyanide in Tylenol. But I don't think he's the one that actually was putting cyanide in Tylenol capsules. How did it get there? I don't know. But I don't know that he's the one
That's
responsible for
true.
that.
They never even touched upon the question of, is there anyone that he knew that worked there?
Yeah. Where was the factory was in
I
Illinois somewhere,
Yeah, it
right?
was in Illinois. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember if it was Chicago or a suburb, but I wonder if they've tried to
So
subpoena
usually
those records.
big factories like that, everybody local works at big factories like that. That still is today.
That's
Like you can
true.
go to any in a small rural town. If there's a big factory there, everybody works there.
That's true. So I
Everybody knows
wonder,
everybody, relatives
so the chances are pretty high of him knowing someone.
that he could have known some. Yeah, he was in cahoots with somebody.
Yeah.
But he absolutely is a piece of crap and he is guilty of crimes more than just an extortion letter. And
Yeah.
the fact that he wrote this extortion letter and thought it's no big deal. It was just words. It was a letter. Who did it hurt? He was
Well, and just
crazy.
just to have that mindset of, because this person, your wife's paycheck bounced, you're going to
Yeah.
do all of this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
It
like
doesn't make
that
sense.
guy raped your wife and you're like, I'm going to come up with, or he murdered somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
the paycheck bounced, really? And so you're going to do all of this? That seems a
Yeah.
little extreme
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
and
totally agree.
crazy.
So the whole time they were interviewing him, though, it's like you think if you didn't know anything about this man and you're watching him be interviewed, you would think he's kind of creepy, but what a sweet older gentleman. Like the way he talked about his wife.
I guess,
Well,
but I
maybe
think
not
his eyes looked
sweet.
dead. He had like evil
Well,
eyes,
yeah,
I thought.
yeah,
They
true.
looked empty.
He was so soft spoken and
I couldn't get past the teeth. Sorry, I know you're not supposed to
yeah.
judge people by their looks, but he had like these little no, 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 no.
Yeah, it was like I said, he did look a little creepy, but then when you hear him talk, you think, oh, this little old guy didn't do anything. But then when you hear the stories that he's connected to, it's like, and also how much bad luck do you have in your life that all of these things are happening around you?
It
Like
seems
it
a little
just
too coincidental. It does.
exactly.
So listeners, put your comments in the comment section. I would love to know what other people think, if they have any other theories.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
it's a
I recommend the documentary.
it was great. Yeah, it's
It
three
was it was
parts.
yeah, and it was quick. Each one was less than an hour.
Yes.
So it was I know when you had told me about it, I was like, I'll try to watch it. And then I was like, they're sure. Yeah, I like binged it in one night.
Yeah. Actually,
I didn't feed my husband or get any housework done, but
yeah,
I got the documentary in.
we started watching a new. We're done with that now. We're talking about something else. I started watching a new show on Netflix. It's called Department Q.
I haven't heard of
It's
that one.
and they all have. I thought it was English accents, but I think it's Scottish. I think they're supposed to be like from Scotland or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the way that the way it was described, it said like this, I don't know how they described him, but this cop that's kind of a jerk has to run this department of some misfits and solve these cold crimes. And that kind of sounded right up my daughter and I's alley. And
Mm-hmm.
so we started watching the first one, and so far I definitely recommend it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a couple, it's not very often that I'm watching a show and something makes me go, oh, what? So in the first episode, I think it was the very first episode, it happened twice during the show. I'm like, and so I'm starting to really like the characters. And it did not go a direction I thought. I was like, oh, I bet it's going to be this. And nope, I was completely wrong. So I'm interested.
Well,
I think it's going to be like one season per case. So it's going to be drawn. It's
okay.
not like one episode per case. So I think it's so far so good. All right. Well,
I'll
you
check it
ready
out.
to?
Well, I was going to say real quick. So since our friends were here from the UK, we have a TV in the guest room. And so they were watching some of their shows that they normally watch in the UK. So now I'm getting all these suggestions for
Yeah.
UK. But it was really funny because Claire sent us a message the other day. She's like, my phone doesn't know where I'm at. I'm getting UK news, some other news, and Washington State. It's like,
Yes.
They want you to come.
I kept getting on my laptop, I kept getting news that was in Greek on my
Mm.
laptop. I'm just like, okay, I don't even know what this says.
Did
I
you even
finally,
have your laptop with you?
I did because I worked just a tiny bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, shame on you. Okay, so should we get to trivia? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, so it's my turn to read to you. We have a new pack. Just a reminder to everybody. This is the trivia that we do. It's the Gen X Challenge. We got it on Amazon, about $30. It had 8 packs in it, and the packs are pretty big. Okay, so I'm going to get a small handful.
Okay.
We'll go through those, and if we still feel like we need more trivia after them, we'll do some more. But I have about 20 cards here. Okay. I don't know if you'll get this. I know you watched it, but I don't know if you'll remember both people. So, what were the names of Will's aunt and uncle in the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Viv or Vivian is
Yep.
the aunt, and Phil, Uncle Phil.
Yes. I thought you would get Phil, but maybe not Aunt Viv. But yep, Philip and Viv. Do you remember their last name for extra
Banks.
points? Yes. Good job. Good
I
job.
did love me some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. You will definitely get this one. What's the name of the drag queen who sang Supermodel? Also, you better work.
It must be RuPaul.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
one that was back then.
Yours are always so easy, and mine are always so hard.
I don't think
Why
so.
is it?
No,
We have the same freaking trivia game.
no, I think it just comes and goes. Like a bunch of yours are easy. It just varies.
Maybe I'm just not very smart.
No.
Okay. What was the name of the first feature length computer animated film released by Pixar in 1995? So the first Pixar movie. I don't know that I would absolutely know this, but I think I would have been able to guess this.
Is it Shrek? I feel like that was later.
It was.
Toy Story?
Yes. Good job. I just tried this one again.
Is it better?
The mango strawberry. It still doesn't taste boozy. It tastes like flavored water, but I really got like the strawberry, and that was actually pretty good. Finish the other one. Where are you with your beer? I haven't seen you drinking it.
I've got like the whole thing left, and I didn't even drink that other one.
Yeah. Sorry, B2.
Wah, wah, wah.
I'm over here getting shitty without you. Just kidding. These are 5%. Oh my God. Okay, wait. I have to tell you something really funny. So I think it was the last record, which hasn't released yet. But by the time this releases, people will know what I'm talking about. I had a very high ABV drink. Do you remember that cocktail?
Yes,
That
I
was like
do.
37.
Is it the one that Zay came and got?
Yes. So
Okay.
Isaiah comes in and gets it. When we got done recording, I go into we have a like sports room, man cave type thing. I go in there. He's going to kill me for sharing this. I was going to get a picture of him, but he came too quick. He was sitting on the couch, all the way slumped over, snoring. I mean, like he drank the whole thing too, because the glass was next to him and it was gone. Now, in his defense, he's been working a lot. His company's going through an acquisition, and he's like we had both been sick, and so it wasn't just because of that, but I'm sure that extremely high ABV drink did not help. But I walked in there, he literally slumped all the way over like he was dead. I would have thought he was dead had he not been snoring so loud, but it was hilarious. I was going to take a picture so I could send it to you, but he woke up too quick. Yeah. So that drink, if you really want to get like just drunk, I recommend that drink. It was a canned cocktail. I don't even remember what it was now, but it was a mighty power in a small little can. Okay. Anyways, back to trivia. Which brand's 90s ad campaign featured the slogan, "It's everywhere you want to be"? I made that sound sultry, and
Yeah.
it is not a sultry thing. It's everywhere you want to be would be more accurate. This is a hard one. I don't know if you would guess this. If you
Is
need a
it
hint, I'll give you a hint.
is it like Sprint or something?
It is a yes, it
Is it
is a brand.
AT&T?
No. Think credit cards.
It's everywhere you want to be. Okay, now that you said that, is it Citibank, MasterCard, Visa,
Visa.
Okay,
Visa.
I
Yeah.
remember now that you said it like that.
Yeah. Okay. What was the name of the dog in the cartoon Super Friends? Sure, he wore a cape.
I can picture him, but I don't know his name. Super Dog,
No, but you're close.
Super Pup.
Wonder Dog.
I remember Underdog. Remember that one?
Underdog. Yep. No, yeah, definitely Underdog. But I think Wonder Dog wore a cape also. I
Yeah.
think. I could be wrong. Somebody fact check me. Which 80s show had an alligator named Elvis? I watched this show, but I did not know this.
Sitcom?
It wasn't really a sitcom.
Did it just
It
say
was
80s
more of
show?
a drama.
It did say 80s show.
Yeah, 80s show
Okay.
had an alligator named Elvis. So first of all, think about where would there be alligators?
I guess in a swamp.
Which would be in what state?
Maybe in Louisiana or Florida.
Florida would be the state.
I know, but I don't know.
Think of 80 shows that were in Florida.
I can't think of any.
Think Suits with neon shirts.
Oh my gosh, it's Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Gosh. I used to
would've
watch that,
I
but
would have never got that.
no, I don't
Tubbs
remember.
and Sprocket.
Sprocket. Actually, Mr. Sprocket is from Jetsons.
That's right. His boss.
Hmm.
George Jetson's boss was Mr. Sprocket.
I think so.
I think you're right. Fact check me. In the classic arcade game Asteroids, which button allowed the player's spaceship to disappear and reappear in a random location? I would have gotten. I was like, the triangle. That's not right either.
A button.
It's specifically called something. It's the hyperspace button.
I didn't really play that one, so.
I did in the arcade, like Round Table, when we would always go to Round Table for pizza. Like
I only remember playing Super Mario Brothers, and I think they had, what was the table one where you'd spin? Like there was that roller ball that was it Pong?
Pong.
Was it Pong? Or
Yeah,
where the ball would bounce
would
and
go
then
back and forth. Yeah, no, Pong was on Atari, but it's
Yeah.
that just on the game.
Yeah.
Remember playing Mario Brothers in my brother's room on the Nintendo?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We were good at that. I have a Nintendo still, and that's the only game I play on it is Mario Brothers. No, that's not true. I play Dr. Mario also, and nobody can beat me at that. And it pisses Isaiah off
I don't think I've
because
played that.
Dr. Mario with the pill bottle, and you gotta.
I don't think I played it.
Okay, the next time you're here, we're busting out the Atari and
Okay.
or not Atari, Nintendo. We're busting out the Nintendo and we're gonna play it. The only person who can get is actual competition is Michelle. Nobody else is even.
Well, next time you're here, I will challenge you to Rock Band.
Okay, wait, on the PlayStation with the guitar? No, that's
we have it on the Wii. No, it's just like Guitar Hero.
Okay, yeah.
But we have guitars, drums, microphone.
I'm in. I am in. Why have we never done this one?
I don't know, but I kick.
Yeah, you'll probably totally kill me, but I'm in. I'm
okay.
And
it's
on. Meet me in the playground.
Remember, it's on like Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, it's on like Donkey. Gag me with a spoon.
Fur.
Remember? Okay, so I was watching this video about a breakup in the 80s. And they were in an arcade, and it was this man and it was this woman and man who like were acting like they were teenagers in the 80s, but everything was like total 80s reference where like butt munch. Remember calling people a butt munch? There was a bunch of stuff where I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's hilarious. Anyways, which Muppet character was an energetic drummer who often shouted drums, drums in excitement?
Was it? I can picture him. He's red and he's like.
You absolutely know this.
All I could think of was Monster.
He would yell his name.
What is it? Animal. I was like Monster, but that's not. Okay, Animal. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that was Sabina's favorite Muppet. I don't know why. Remember we used to watch Muppet Babies?
Yes.
That was fun.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. What was the name of the bar that Brian opened at the end of the movie Cocktail? I'm
Oh,
assuming Brian was played by Tom
Tom
Cruise.
Cruise. I feel like it's something in dreams. Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Okay, what is it? I don't know.
Flanagan's.
Okay. Well, I believe you. I haven't. God, I haven't seen Cocktail in a long.
Well, you know me, I watched a movie back in the 80s and have never watched it again. What British rock band sang Hungry Like a Wolf?
Oh, that would be Duran Duran.
Yes, ma'am.
I do know that.
Oh, I would totally know this one. I don't know if you're going to know this one, though. Which TV sitcom sparked a national debate in the early 90s for its storyline of the main character, a news journalist having a child as a single mother?
I don't know.
Murphy Brown.
A baby. First, I was kind of thinking of more of a kid because she was. I remember Murphy Brown.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, do you remember in Sweet Home Alabama, she plays the mom of
Yeah.
the guy? She's
Yeah.
so perfect in that. I love
Yeah.
that movie.
Yep. Candace Bergman, right? Candace Bergman?
I think so.
That's her name. I like her.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain. Okay. Maybe it was different trivia because I remember you having this question, but I just opened this pack, so it wouldn't have been you had it and read it to me. So
Well, none of these have sounded familiar to me.
I know, but this one,
Well, I wonder if they're mixed up different.
maybe. I don't know. Okay. So what was the name of the Cold War crisis involving a U.S. naval blockade of Cuba to stop the Soviet Union from delivering nuclear weapons?
I don't remember having this question. We talked about was this the Cuban War?
Mm-hmm.
Was that question? Did we have that question?
I know this answer has been an answer on another.
But I wonder if it's
Maybe
a trivia that you, when we were looking stuff up to do trivia at the very beginning.
Maybe. No, I'm positive that
That you
Michelle
read
can
that.
fact check us, but I'm positive we've had this question. Maybe the question was written differently, but the answer 100% is the same.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was like when you looked up 80s trivia.
No. It was during trivia like this because I remember commenting. I was like, "Yeah, no, good job, awesome, you got it," because you mostly had it.
Yeah.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
I think that you, when we were looking up at the very beginning and we were looking up trivia to give each other, I think that that's when you read it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm disappointed you didn't get it the second time.
Well, my brain does not absorb things like it used to.
I know. Okay. We only have 5 more.
Okay, sounds good because we're over an hour already.
Okay, people love us. Okay. What chewing gum brand used the slogan "Double your pleasure, double your fun"?
With double mint gum.
Yes. I feel
And
like
it would have the twins on the commercial.
Yep. What was the superhero alter ego of Shoeshine Boy, a cartoon character that was a parody of Superman?
No idea.
Yes,
I've never
you
heard
do.
of that.
You actually said his name tonight.
What?
Uh-huh. A couple questions ago, you thought you said this name.
Shoeshine Boy.
Cartoon, Shoeshine Boy, superhero,
I don't know.
underdog. Remember he was a shoeshine.
No, I don't remember that. I just remember Underdog. I don't know.
Yeah. Who was destined to become the leader of the human resistance against Skynet in the Terminator?
Oh, it's the son, right? It's the boy. Was he the leader? Or was it the girl? The woman?
No, it was the boy. Yeah, it was the boy.
I don't know his name.
John Connor.
Okay.
This one's...
See, they're not all easy.
This next one's hard, but then the last one, you're absolutely going to get. So, the hard one first. Well, I think it's hard. What was the full name of Tony's best friend and fellow astronaut in the show I Dream of Jeannie?
I don't know. I used to watch that, but I was little.
Yeah, Roger Healy. Okay.
Speaking of that, do you remember the movie The Cat from Outer Space? Oh, I wanted a cat like that so bad. It had this necklace, or I mean a collar, and it would light up when something happened. I need to watch that again because I don't remember it, but oh my gosh. And
But
the
it,
cat was like with the military guy. Oh my gosh, I love that one. And I love The Incredible Mr. Limpet. Do you remember that one? With the fish cartoon that it was Don Knotts was the fish.
was this on cable? Because remember, I was poor and we didn't have cable. Unless my
Probably.
dad was able to steal it from the neighbor.
No, I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of either one of those shows. So,
Okay. Well, give me my
okay.
last one.
This one you're absolutely going to get it. In the 80s, what type of plastic footwear featured a semi transparent, glossy appearance and often had a sparkly finish?
And a stinky smell. That would be jelly shoes.
That would be ding, ding, ding. Good job, B2.
Yeah,
I
those were
didn't keep
gross.
track of which ones you got right, but I'm going to give you 100% because I like you. A plus plus.
All right, B2.
Okay.
Well, I picked today to do the recording because yesterday was when those Reese's cups were supposed to be delivered. Then they got delivered early. And so I got a
Oh.
notification. I'm like, and so that's why I was like, hey, what are you doing? Are you at work today?
Yep, all day. You know what? It's funny because I had it in my calendar that we were going to record yesterday, but I was like, no, I swear we talked about Thursday. I don't know why I have it in my calendar for Wednesday, but we were originally going to record on Wednesday. That's funny. So everybody knows today's actually Thursday.
Tomorrow is Friday. Oh, thank goodness.
TGIF. They
That's
didn't
right.
come up with that for just no reason at all.
That's true.
I like to call today Friday Eve. Friday Eve.
Well, actually, right when we get off work on Thursday, we say, it's Friday.
It is. It
And
is.
people are like, what? No, it's not. You don't get it.
Yeah.
It is. It's Friday for us.
It's Friday. Calm down, people. Okay. Well,
All right,
me too. Until next time, cheers with your crappy beer.
cheers.
Cheers.
I can't make it stop.
Can't stop, won't
Oh
stop.
my gosh, the mouse died.
Well, you'll have to edit this so that it actually stops.
I can't.
No other way to stop it?
I don't know.
Can I stop it? No, I can just leave.
Thanks. Oh, wait, maybe I can.
Cindytha, master of the universe.
Here we go. Cancel. Stop.